In the vast darkness of space, where the stars flickered like distant memories of a forgotten age, the year 2387 had etched a grim new chapter in humanity's interstellar saga. The outer reaches of the solar system had long been a silent battleground, an expanse where ancient wrecks and derelict space stations floated like ghostly monuments to wars past. Now, as if stirred by an unseen hand, these remnants bore witness to a new and ominous decree. It began with a transmission, a piercing, imperious broadcast that rippled through every communication channel in Earth's defense forces. The Galactic Senate, an assembly of countless alien species united under one iron rule, had spoken. Their message was unambiguous: surrender or face obliteration. The words reverberated across the void, carrying with them the weight of an empire that brooked no defiance. Inside the command bridge of Earth's flagship warship, the atmosphere was charged with an electric mix of dread and resolve. Commander Alara Voss stood at the forefront, her eyes fixed on the holographic display that cascaded with stark, swirling images of distant battles and shattered satellites. At 34, Alara bore the look of someone who had seen too much yet remained unbowed, a leader hardened by conflict, yet still capable of a quiet, fierce compassion. "Attention, all stations," she announced, her voice steady and resolute as it cut through the murmurs of her crew. "The Galactic Senate's ultimatum is not a request. We either comply or prepare to engage. I want full systems check and defensive protocols at once." Her tone left no room for hesitation. Around her, officers scrambled to relay orders, their faces etched with both fear and determination. The warship's corridors, once the domain of routine drills and calculated maneuvers, now pulsed with the urgency of an impending storm. Every console, every sensor blinked with the incoming data, a ballet of numbers and coordinates that painted a vivid picture of the enemy's might. Outside, the view through the reinforced observation window was a breathtaking yet eerie spectacle. The void was a canvas of infinite black, studded with stars, and the haunting silhouettes of abandoned satellites and derelict space stations. These relics of bygone conflicts floated aimlessly, each a silent testament to humanity's struggle against forces far beyond their ken. Now, they stood as mute witnesses to an unfolding drama, their ancient hulls catching the cold, unyielding light of distant suns. Alara's mind raced, even as her body remained composed. She recalled the stories passed down through generations, tales of valor, sacrifice, and the ceaseless fight for freedom. Her family, steeped in the legacy of interstellar warfare, had taught her that the cost of defiance was high, but the cost of surrender was immeasurable. The transmission from the Senate was a call to arms, a challenge that demanded not just the might of technology, but the indomitable spirit of those who refused to yield. "Status report," she commanded once more, her voice echoing off the metal walls of the bridge. Lieutenant Merrick, a young but sharp-eyed officer, responded briskly. "Commander, all systems are go. The fleet is positioned, and our sensors indicate an approaching armada, scouts and advanced vessels, likely part of the Senate's preliminary strike force." A murmur of tension ran through the room. Every crew member was now acutely aware of the stakes. The Galactic Senate's power was legendary, its reach spanning galaxies, and yet here they were, Earth's last bulwark, poised to defy the ultimate decree. As the warship shuddered slightly, a mechanical prelude to what was to come, Alara allowed herself a brief moment of introspection. She knew that this confrontation was more than a battle of firepower. It was a collision of ideologies, of ancient histories, and future dreams. In the sterile glow of the command bridge, beneath the vast dome of space, she vowed silently that Earth would not surrender without a fight. Her resolve was as unyielding as the cold vacuum outside, and as the transmission continued to echo, every crew member felt the weight of destiny upon their shoulders. The stage was set, the players in position, and with every passing second, the chasm between old peace and a new war narrowed. In that suspended moment, before the first salvo was fired, the enormity of the ultimatum sank in. Surrender was a word that meant death to freedom. Defiance was the only language left to speak in the language of survival. And in the heart of this defiant warship, Commander Alara Voss steeled herself for the battle that would decide not only the fate of Earth, but the very soul of humanity. As the warship steadied on its course through the silent, infinite stretch of space, a reflective calm settled over its corridors, a stark contrast to the charged urgency of Chapter 1. In the quiet recesses of her private quarters, Commander Alara Voss found herself adrift in memories as vivid and haunting as the nebulae outside her viewport. Late that night, with only the soft hum of the ship's engines and the distant flicker of sensor readouts to accompany her, Alara sat before a digital archive. The soft blue glow of ancient photographs and coded messages lit her face. She traced the faded lines of a photograph with trembling fingers, a family portrait featuring her father, a renowned fighter pilot of the early interstellar skirmishes, and her mother, whose silent strength had steered them through countless perils. In that moment, the warship's metallic walls receded, and she was once again a young girl, awed by the tales of valor spun around a crackling hearth on a distant, war-torn colony. Her thoughts flowed like a gentle current, carrying her back to a time when the cosmos was less a battleground and more an endless horizon of possibilities. The memory of her first briefing, back in the academy, surged forth. The exhilarating rush of being sworn to protect humanity, the promise that every sacrifice would be etched into the annals of freedom. Yet with those moments came the heavier burdens, the unspoken grief for lost comrades, the regret of battles where victory had come at too steep a price. These were the echoes of the past that resonated in every command decision she made. In the communal mess hall later that evening, the weight of history was a subject that could not be brushed aside. Seated around a worn table, her closest officers gathered, each sharing a fragment of their own story. Lieutenant Merrick, still youthful but marked by the rigors of war, recalled his first skirmish with a tremor in his voice. "I remember how the sky lit up with flares, like a dying star fighting for its last breath," he said softly, his eyes distant yet burning with the resolve of youth. His words stirred memories of his own, and soon, more voices joined the chorus, recounting near misses, daring rescues, and the silent promises made to fallen friends. Each story was a thread in the vast tapestry of conflict, a tapestry that stretched back through generations. For Alara, these recollections were both solace and a stark reminder of the stakes at hand. The Senate's demand for surrender was not just a political maneuver. It was a challenge to every sacrifice made in the name of freedom. In the midst of shared laughter, muted by the gravity of their memories, there was also a palpable tension, a collective understanding that history had taught them the heavy cost of inaction. After the gathering dispersed, Alara retreated to the quiet solitude of her command office. There, she pored over strategic documents and ancient battle records, each page a testament to the resilience and ingenuity of those who had come before her. The cold logic of military tactics blended with the passionate narratives of personal loss and triumph. It was a duality that defined her existence, a leader whose decisions were both calculated and deeply personal. In a private moment of introspection, she mused over a recurring question. Could the echoes of the past guide the future, or were they merely ghosts that haunted the present? The answer was neither simple nor clear. The past, with its scars and wisdom, offered lessons in perseverance and sacrifice, yet it also warned of the perils of repeating old mistakes. As she gazed into the star-speckled abyss outside her window, Alara vowed to honor every life lost and every battle fought by ensuring that the spirit of resistance would burn brighter than the darkness that sought to engulf them. Thus, in the stillness of that night, far from the battlefield's roar, Commander Voss reconciled with her own history. The soft echoes of ancient voices mingled with the present, each a reminder of the enduring flame of hope that had carried humanity through its darkest hours. It was in these quiet reflections that Alara found her resolve renewed, preparing her for the trials ahead, as she steeled herself to lead her crew not just into battle, but into a future where the lessons of the past would illuminate the path to freedom. The warship surged into the cosmic expanse, leaving behind the relative comfort of familiar sectors for the uncharted territories near Neptune. As the vessel carved a silent path through the endless black, the journey became a meditation on both duty and destiny. Outside, the void shimmered with the muted radiance of distant stars and nebulae, celestial landmarks that punctuated the dark tapestry of space. Inside the ship, the corridors hummed with the steady cadence of engines and the soft beeping of monitoring systems. Every crew member, from the grizzled veteran stationed at the navigation console to the young technician calibrating sensor arrays, shared a palpable sense of anticipation. This voyage was not merely a transit from point A to point B. It was a deliberate step into the unknown, where every second brought them closer to the heart of the impending conflict. Commander Alara Voss stood on the bridge, her eyes tracing the elegant dance of cosmic light that spilled through the expansive observation window. The swirling patterns of interstellar dust and the occasional flash of distant supernovae served as a constant reminder of both the beauty and the treachery of the universe. Each pulsating star seemed to whisper secrets of ancient battles and lost civilizations, hinting at a history that was as vast and complex as the space they now traversed. The warship's course was plotted meticulously, weaving through asteroid belts and narrow channels of gravitational pull. Lieutenant Merrick, now at the helm, orchestrated a series of calculated maneuvers that ensured a safe passage past the jagged remnants of a shattered moon. His fingers danced over the holographic controls, his focus unyielding as he adjusted the ship's trajectory with the precision of a seasoned pilot. "Steady, everyone," he intoned, his voice a calm counterpoint to the relentless pulse of the engines. "We're entering the Neptune approach vector. Prepare for the next phase of the mission." During a brief lull in the tactical discussions, the crew gathered in the briefing room, a compact chamber adorned with star maps and mission protocols. Here, the tension gave way to a collective introspection. Stories and personal anecdotes flowed as freely as the simulated trajectories on the display screens. One officer recalled a fabled encounter with a rogue comet during a previous mission, while another recounted the eerie silence of deep space that could chill even the most hardened warrior. These narratives, though steeped in the lore of space exploration, resonated deeply with the crew's shared sense of purpose. Alara, ever the reflective leader, took this opportunity to re-examine the mission objectives. With a measured tone, she reminded her team that the journey to Neptune was more than a physical displacement. It was a test of their resolve, a crucible where their skills, courage, and humanity would be forged anew. "Every star we pass and every obstacle we overcome is a lesson," she said softly, her voice imbued with both warmth and gravity. "Our voyage is as much about discovering our own strength as it is about reaching our destination." As the warship neared the icy fringes of Neptune's domain, the environment outside transformed. The majestic rings of the distant planet loomed large, casting spectral shadows over the barren moons and crystalline ice fields. The interplay of light and shadow, of cold cosmic beauty and underlying menace, filled every sensor with data that was as enigmatic as it was foretelling. The crew worked in synchronized harmony, their actions a silent ballet against the backdrop of an unforgiving universe. Every crew member could feel the crescendo of destiny building with each passing moment. For them, the voyage to Neptune was both an escape from the familiar and a plunge into an abyss of uncertain futures. The chill of the outer solar system, combined with the constant hum of high-tech machinery, created an atmosphere that was both eerily silent and intensely alive. In this liminal space, the warship sailed toward a destiny that had been etched in the annals of cosmic history. The path ahead was fraught with the specter of conflict, yet it also offered a chance to rewrite the rules of engagement in the struggle for freedom. And as the ship edged closer to Neptune's icy embrace, every soul on board understood that their voyage was not just a mission. It was the prelude to a confrontation that would define the fate of worlds. As the warship pressed deeper into the dark corridors of space, the silence of the void was suddenly shattered by the rapid burst of alarms and the staccato rhythm of emergency communications. In the vast emptiness where stars once shone peacefully, the first skirmishes erupted like sudden sparks against an infinite canvas. The crew braced as their sensors lit up with blips, hostile vessels emerging from the obscurity, their sleek, alien forms moving with the cold precision of predatory hunters. On the bridge, the atmosphere transformed from tense anticipation to palpable urgency. Lieutenant Merrick's hands danced over the holographic controls as he relayed rapid updates. Multiple enemy scouts detected, Commander. They're closing in from the starboard flank at high velocity. He reported, his voice sharp and focused. The warship, once a bastion of calm determination, now pulsed with the frenetic energy of imminent battle. Commander Alara Voss issued concise commands, her tone both authoritative and unwavering. Engage defensive protocols. Shields up, full power. Prepare for evasive maneuvers and return fire on my mark. Her eyes scanned the array of tactical data streaming before her, each flashing warning a reminder that the galaxy's vast silence was often a prelude to sudden chaos. Outside the reinforced observation window, the black void was alive with motion. Sleek, angular vessels, the scouts of the Galactic Senate, darted into formation like a school of hostile fish. Their weapons systems glowed ominously, poised to unleash torrents of laser fire. The warship's hull shuddered under the barrage as first shots from both sides rang out, slicing through the darkness in bursts of incandescent light. In the midst of the chaos, the ship's corridors echoed with the clatter of rapid footsteps and the coordinated shouts of crew members taking up defensive positions. Every officer and technician worked in synchronized urgency, transforming the warship into a well-oiled machine of war. The bridge became a theater of both technological precision and raw human courage, where each crew member's resolve was tested with every passing second. Amid the tactical frenzy, Alara's mind remained sharply focused on the larger battle. She recalled the lessons etched in her family's storied past, stories of skirmishes fought on the edge of known space, where quick thinking and unyielding determination turned the tide against overwhelming odds. Now, as laser fire streaked across the observation window and enemy ships danced like phantom silhouettes against the cosmic dark, those lessons came to life in a new and terrifying reality. Hold steady, Alara commanded, her voice slicing through the cacophony. Lieutenant, adjust our course to the left. We'll use the asteroid field as cover. The decision was instantaneous, a calculated risk designed to break the enemy's coordinated attack. Merrick acknowledged with a curt nod, and the warship veered sharply, its trajectory skimming the jagged surfaces of ancient, inert asteroids. These rocky relics, pitted by time and cosmic dust, provided the perfect, albeit temporary, shield against the relentless pursuit of the Senate scouts. As the ship maneuvered through the asteroid field, the battle shifted in pace. The sudden change in environment forced both sides into a more desperate dance. The enemy vessels, unaccustomed to the unpredictable corridors of floating rock, faltered in their formation. Seizing the opportunity, Earth's defense forces redoubled their efforts, firing with precision and using the debris as a smokescreen to conceal their movements. In the heart of the battle, a striking moment of personal bravery unfolded. Ensign Rhea, a young tactical officer known for her unwavering resolve, spotted an enemy fighter locked onto a vulnerable section of the warship's hull. Without hesitation, she activated a targeted countermeasure, launching a barrage of micro-missiles that streaked through space like luminous arrows. Her quick thinking not only neutralized the immediate threat, but also disrupted the enemy's tactical coordination, buying the crew precious seconds to regroup and adapt. The chaos of battle was interspersed with brief, yet intense, exchanges over the communication channels. Each terse, clipped order was a lifeline, a spark of hope amid the growing inferno of conflict. The dialogue between officers was a blend of technical jargon and raw emotion, each word laced with the unspoken understanding that every decision now could be a matter of life or death. Outside, the cosmic landscape continued to shift in a surreal interplay of light and shadow. Laser blasts illuminated the dark void in transient bursts, while the warship and its pursuers danced a deadly ballet among the scattered asteroids. Every collision of light was a testament to the high stakes of this skirmish, a vivid reminder that in this unforgiving expanse, survival hinged on both technological prowess and the indomitable human spirit. In that maelstrom of combat, the true cost of the Galactic Senate's demand was becoming painfully clear. Each explosion, each fractured hull, echoed with the sacrifices of those who had dared to challenge cosmic tyranny. And as the warship pressed on, Navigating through the chaotic corridors of the void, Commander Voss's resolve burned brighter. In the heart of the skirmish, with every pulse of enemy fire, she knew that this battle, like all battles before it, was more than a fight for survival. It was a stand for every story etched in the stars, for every voice that had ever dared to dream of freedom amidst the unyielding dark. The warship emerged from the tangled maze of asteroids into a region of space where the gravitational pull of Neptune loomed like a silent giant. Here, amid the ethereal glow of the planet's rings, destiny coalesced into a single, charged moment. The skirmishes in the void had served their purpose. Now it was time for the ultimate confrontation. Commander Alara Voss stood on the bridge, every sense heightened as the enemy's formation came into sharper focus on the tactical display. Ahead of them, a massive flagship, sleek and imposing, drifted like a predatory beast against the shimmering backdrop of Neptune. This was no ordinary vessel. It was the command post of Senator Cale Varen, the architect of the Galactic Senate's Iron Will. The clash of ideologies and wills was inevitable. A hush fell over the bridge as the warship drew closer. The hum of the engines deepened, mingling with the soft, anxious murmurs of the crew. In that charged silence, every heartbeat seemed to echo the looming collision of two opposing forces. "Open a secure channel," Alara ordered, her voice steady yet laced with anticipation. A flicker of coded symbols replaced the routine beeps of the communication panel, and soon the image of Senator Varen materialized on the central display. His face was composed and resolute, eyes sharp with calculated determination. The digital divide between them seemed insurmountable, a chasm filled with centuries of cosmic politics and personal vendettas. "Commander Voss," Varen intoned, his tone smooth and unyielding. "Your defiance is admirable, but futile. Surrender now, and your people may yet find peace under the galactic order." Alara met his gaze without flinching, her features set in quiet defiance. "Peace under tyranny is no peace at all," she replied, her voice resonating with both conviction and sorrow. "We fight not because we wish to wage endless war, but because the price of surrender is the death of freedom." The dialogue crackled with tension, each word a volley in a battle that was as much philosophical as it was militaristic. As the exchange unfolded, the warship's sensors picked up subtle shifts in the enemy flagship's energy fields, a prelude to an imminent assault. Orders barked, and the bridge transformed into a nexus of rapid calculations and split-second decisions. Without warning, the enemy vessel unleashed a salvo of energy blasts, their brilliance painting the void with violent arcs of light. The warship's shields shuddered under the impact, sparks dancing across the instrumentation like errant fireflies. Alara's eyes narrowed, her mind racing as she issued commands with precision. "Divert power to the forward shields. Countermeasures now." The ensuing moments were a chaotic symphony of clashing technologies and raw human determination. Explosions rippled along the hull of the enemy flagship, and in response, the warship maneuvered deftly, dodging deadly projectiles through a series of calculated evasive actions. Amid the swirling chaos, the secure channel flickered again, and Varen's visage returned, unperturbed and almost amused. "You are resilient, Commander," he remarked coolly. "But resilience alone will not turn the tide. You stand at the precipice of history, yet your defiance endangers countless lives." Alara's jaw tightened as she absorbed his words. In that moment, every sacrifice, every loss, and every hope that had led her to this juncture converged into a single, unwavering purpose. "If preserving freedom means risking everything," she said softly, her voice a blend of determination and regret, "then I accept that cost. Your vision of order is built on the backs of the oppressed, and we will never bow to it." As the duel of ideologies reached its climax, the battle escalated. The warship's offensive systems charged, unleashing a barrage that pierced the enemy's defenses in a display of technological brilliance and raw courage. Varen's calm facade wavered ever so slightly, a fleeting glimpse of the man burdened by his own convictions. For a heartbeat, the digital link allowed the two titans to share a silent understanding, a recognition that each was a product of a different vision for the cosmos. The space between them trembled with the reverberations of their clash, a storm of energy and resolve that defied the silence of the void. The warship danced on the razor's edge, its fate intertwined with every command, every whispered memory of past battles. And as the final exchange of volleys lit up the dark expanse, Commander Alara Voss braced herself for the decisive moment, a moment that would forever alter the balance of power in the galaxy. In the heart of that incandescent storm, amidst the clashing lights and shadows, the confrontation at the edge of Neptune became more than a mere battle. It was a reckoning of wills, a testament to the indomitable spirit that refused to be shackled by tyranny. And as the enemy flagship faltered under the relentless counterattack, the message was clear: freedom, no matter how costly, was a prize worth fighting for. In the aftermath of the incandescent confrontation at Neptune's edge, silence reclaimed the void, but it was a silence weighted with the echoes of sacrifice and the cost of defiance. The enemy flagship lay in ruins, a shattered relic of the Galactic Senate's imposing might, drifting amid the frozen luminescence of Neptune's rings. The warship, scarred and trembling from the ferocity of battle, sailed into a fragile calm, a fleeting moment of respite before the storm of consequences began to settle. Inside the bridge, the crew moved with a somber determination, each officer acutely aware that victory had been won at a tremendous price. The familiar hum of the ship's systems now resonated with a different tone, a low, steady heartbeat that marked both survival and loss. Commander Alara Voss, her uniform stained with the residue of battle, stared into the swirling patterns of light outside. Every star in that endless expanse now seemed to flicker with the memories of fallen comrades and the sacrifices etched into the very fabric of their struggle. Across the corridors, whispers of relief mingled with grief. In the medical bay, injured crew members received tender care, their wounds a constant reminder that freedom demanded more than valor. It demanded sacrifice. Lieutenant Merrick stood silently by the observation window, his gaze fixed on the shattered remnants of enemy vessels scattered like broken promises in the cosmic sea. His thoughts drifted to those who had given their lives to ensure that Earth's defiance could shine as a beacon of hope against tyranny. In a private moment in her command office, Alara pored over the aftermath reports and tactical debriefings. The data painted a stark picture: critical damage to the warship's core systems, significant casualties, and yet, an undeniable spark of resilience that refused to be extinguished. The confrontation with Senator Varen had not merely been a clash of firepower. It had been a crucible where the ideals of freedom and autonomy were forged in the heat of battle. Each decision, each risk taken, was a thread in the tapestry of rebellion that stretched back through generations of sacrifice. As the ship prepared to chart a course back toward Earth, a quiet ceremony was held in the main assembly hall. Under the dim glow of the ship's ambient lights, crew members gathered to honor those lost in the confrontation. They lit small, flickering candles, each flame a tribute to a life that had been bravely given. Alara addressed them, her voice steady but laced with the gravity of their shared journey. "We have paid a heavy price today," she began, her eyes scanning the solemn faces before her. "But let it be known that the spirit of freedom burns eternal. Every sacrifice strengthens our resolve, and every fallen comrade fuels our determination to forge a future where tyranny has no place among us." Her words, both a benediction and a call to arms, resonated deeply. In that moment, the crew understood that their battle was not just against an external enemy. It was a struggle for the very soul of humanity. They had confronted an overwhelming force and emerged battered yet unbroken, each scar a testament to the indomitable will to live freely. As the warship slowly turned its course toward the familiar constellations of home, the journey ahead was fraught with uncertainty. Yet in the silent communion of that space, hope intermingled with the sorrow of loss. Every crew member felt the weight of history and the promise of a future carved by courage and conviction. The victory at Neptune was bittersweet, a poignant reminder that freedom is not granted. It is fought for, even when the cost is immeasurable. In the cold, dark expanse of the universe, the warship sailed on, a solitary sentinel carrying the torch of liberty through the night. And as the final log entry was recorded, marking the end of this chapter in their saga, a single truth shone through the quiet despair: The price of freedom was indeed high, but it was a debt humanity was willing to pay for a tomorrow defined by hope and resilience.